Good morning, everybody. I wanted to share some things with you that have been stuck in my mind. I have this really odd kind of mind, okay? I can remember as far back as my birth and different things throughout my life. Almost a photographic memory. And when things don't make sense sometimes, they stick in my brain. They don't ever go away. They're just like a splinter. Kind of like it's described in the Matrix, a splinter in your mind. You're aware of it, but what you know you can't explain. That type of scenario. I really love that movie Matrix, by the way. But anyways, these things that I keep seeing and I keep watching, I keep paying attention to, they don't go away. They stand like splinters in my mind until something happens and they start clicking and things start falling into place. And then I can understand them and process that information. Well, excuse me. It's not the COVID, it's too many cigarettes. And anyways, I follow Q drops a lot. And whenever I first started, it was a little bit difficult to navigate because a lot of them didn't make any sense to me. But like I said, they stick like splinters in my mind. One of the first observations I understood about the Q movement was that it was definitely had some government intelligence involved in it, or should I say some kind of intelligence agency involved in it because of the amount of just pure probabilities and calculations. I'm a very scientific kind of an individual. And I thought that Q perhaps was an artificial intelligence, a computer system sorting through this, calculating probabilities and outcomes. But I like I said, things stick in my mind like a splinter. And the last post that I read just said Durham, Q. So that's kind of weird. Why is that sticking in my mind? Because everybody was jumping to the conclusion that he was talking about Durham, the investigator for the Department of Justice. But I saw something different that made Q stand out as an individual, a human. And Q has a flair for Shakespearean type of expression. And computers are more logical. Let me explain about the Shakespearean thing, okay? I played Tybalt in the play Romeo and Juliet when I was in junior high. And Shakespeare used to take words and make a play on the words. A good example, I played Tybalt. Tybalt gets run through in a scene, and his Romeo's best friend, and he's talking to Romeo, and he says, "Find me tomorrow, and you'll find me a grave man." Meaning, tomorrow I'm either going to be critically ill, or you're going to need to dig a hole for me. In the same way, a lady was crossing the park thing, the little area there, and he looked at her and he said, "A sail, a sail." And a sail was that piece of cloth that hung down behind the lady's head. And the longer this cloth was, the more her social stature was. And this thing was massively long. And he says, a sail, meaning that lady's sail is big enough to be the sail of a ship. So Q says Durham. And everybody jumps to the Durham investigation. But interesting, Sidney Powell was born in Durham. And I believe that this was a Shakespearean expression on Q's part, that he wasn't just pointing out the investigation by Durham, but was pointing towards Sidney Powell as well. And just in the same way, Sidney Powell, in turn, says that she's going to release the Kraken. Okay, now we all know about the Kraken. Anybody that's watched old movies and stuff, Greek mythology and things like that, know what the Kraken is. It's basically Hades' child, the devil's child. But where I'm leading with this is, interesting enough, that Sidney Powell from Durham says she's going to release the Kraken. And just a little bit of research on my part came up with the fact that Kraken is the name of a super AI computer in Tennessee. Okay, now this is a quantum computer. It can make trillions upon trillions of calculations and process information at an unbelievable speeds and things. And it's obvious that a cybercrime was committed with this Dominion software system, and that our votes were actually sent to Germany and then back to the United States, and it's a Canadian-based company and everything. And this supercomputer has the ability to calculate immeasurable probabilities. And it's also programmed to use Occam's razor. Okay, now if you don't know what that is, it's the simplest answer is usually the correct one, given all things being equal. See, you and I can only calculate so many probabilities. A supercomputer like that can calculate nearly all of the probabilities. So the answer is the simplest one with the least amount of probabilities is probably the correct one. And it can link this whole spider web of corruption throughout the deep state, the cabal, the New World Order, the financial world, weigh out every country and what's going on, and calculate. But it doesn't have instinct. Just like it could not figure out this Q statement about Durham, that it was a play on words of Shakespearean words and stuff. That was just a hunch of mine, and when I followed it, discovered Kraken and all kinds of things. They mentioned hammer and scorecard. When they mentioned hammer, I thought about Thor. You know, so I just kind of just Googled a little thing about Thor software. But what I came up with was something interesting called Loki. Loki is a malware type of program detector. It goes in and looks for things that a computer's doing that it shouldn't be doing and identifies them. And it's called Loki, and it's a subsidiary of a program, believe it or not, called Thor. Malware is oftentimes malware. I don't know if you ever remember the program called WeatherBug, but WeatherBug was spyware. You put it on your computer, the program spied on where you were browsing, what you were doing and stuff, and then disclosed that information to the company to be sold in the open market, that information on you. Malware is the same basic type of thing. You give a program permission to come into your computer, into your phone or whatever, and look for malicious software. But this program also has the ability to put its own information into your phone. In other words, malware is malware. They can go in and edit it, all this stuff. So when they talked about the Hammer program, and I looked into this hack, this Loki hack, being able to go in. Now, a supercomputer can identify that in a heartbeat. And there was something in that movie, The Awakening, The Fall of the Cabal. And they talked about, just like us, they fell victim of technology. And as they've spied on us and looked at everything that we do, all of our text messaging, all of our emails, this video, it's a lot harder for AIs to do the video thing, or memes, photographs. But they use that against us. And by the same token, they fell victim to it as well, and now they can be tracked. Their fingerprints are all over everything. It's really incredible how certain names keep popping up. Soros, Bill Gates, Clintons, Obamas, Bidens, keep popping up, keep popping up, keep popping up. Well, these super AIs can do this association. Now, here's a hunch that an AI probably couldn't pick up on unless somebody kind of pointed it down this direction. Q at one time had pointed out that there were some communications found in the Sandy Hook thing in a video game chat room. They were communicating via a chat room in a video game. And that was like, okay, that would explain why some of these basement punks and Antifa and stuff, probably pretty big video game people. Okay, that's nothing unusual there, but it stuck in my mind like a splinter. Then I read an article about George Soros putting $45 million into Blizzard. And for those of you that don't know, Blizzard is a video game corporation. And I thought, now why would George be dabbling in video game software? And I've seen a lot of clips on George Soros and his talks and things. And he doesn't care about anybody. What he cares about is making money and causing problems. That's his deal. That's his bag. So why video game software? Why Blizzard? And different things. There's a video game called Diablo, the Devil. And it's owned by Blizzard and so many different others. Now, this is a way that not only Antifa and these organizers, the BLM, these riots and things communicate with one another, but I also believe, I just have this hunch, that it's also the way that the cabal and deep state communicate. And an AI system could go in there in just no time at all and put in keywords and searches into the chat rooms of how they've been communicating, and discover this hidden communication system within the video game system. It's just one more tool that George Soros is using. And back to the voting system and Dominion and Hammer and scorecard and all of this. You know, us cyber warriors and the people of the high intelligence community, it's clearly that we can see through what's going on and what's happening. We have all the evidence that we need to catch nearly all of these people now. And this emergency executive order that Trump just initiated, when you read into it, you discover exactly what's getting ready to happen. Okay, any foreign or domestic interference in the United States elections is in direct violation of the Constitution and the will of the American people, and is to be taken extremely serious. And these people have been traced. The money trails are coming in. It's like Sidney Powell said, it's like taking a sip of water from a fire hose. This fraud is everywhere, it's deep and it's widespread, and it's based upon software and the internet. They, like ourselves, became victims of technology, and they're caught, they're busted, they're in panic mode. All these mainstream media outlets that have been lying and deceiving and all of that, well, this executive order addresses that too. It addresses big tech, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, Amazon, mainstream media. All parties involved become guilty of the same crime. The RICO Act is what Giuliani used to bring down the mob. And it's in that same spirit that this executive order is written, that this coup against the President of the United States and to strip the American people of their right to vote is nothing less than treason. And once you start convicting people, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bidens, these different politicians, Pelosi, Schiff, they've all got their fingers in the tail. Pelosi, and I call her Frankenstein, have vested interest financially in Dominion software and instituting it. Now they're discovering a lot of these state governors and attorney generals have received kickbacks from purchasing this software to use in their elections. This corruption is on such a massive scale, but I want people to understand that we're on top of it, that these AI systems and quantum computing, I keep on top of quantum mechanics. And this is so massive. It is basically, we're in World War III. But this new war isn't sitting shooting guns at each other and blowing stuff up. It's a cyber war. It's I understand now what Trump means when he says the hidden enemy. Everybody thought he was talking about COVID. Most people did, not us. We knew who he was talking about. This new world order that wants to destroy 95% of the population. They're behind this. And Soros isn't even the top dog. That's the scary part. He's just a puppet for the 1% of the 3%. So, globally, a lot of countries have fallen to socialism, to Islam, and to this new world order. But rest assured that we know what we're doing. Trump is moving us back to a gold standard. We're becoming an economic powerhouse, not the economic powerhouse of the world. And basically what that means is during this global reset of the financial systems, that's a central banking trying to cover their butt. The central bank has fallen. It's not that it will fall, it has fallen. And they must shift, they must evolve their banking system because it has collapsed. And they wanted war and they didn't get one. They tried to provoke one and didn't get one. They tried to provoke a civil war, they didn't get one. They attacked us with a pandemic to shut us down economically, to keep us from becoming a powerhouse, because without the United States, the central bank collapses totally, globally. You see, once we're an economic powerhouse and we're back on the gold system, they lose all power. If you want to belly up to the table with the United States and do trade with the United States of America, you must deal within our financial system and not the central bank's financial system. And China, this is what baffles me about China and their involvement in everything, from elections to energy to just about everything. From the virus and everything. United States is their bread and butter. And it just baffles me. Why would you want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg? But there's a struggle within these really powerful people in the world for control of the world. And China wants to be the ones that rule the world, that produce all the manufacturing and everything. And if they can crush America financially, we have farms and ranchers. We've already got a $50 billion contract that Trump signed, an agreement to provide China with billions of dollars worth of produce, food, that they cannot produce. So why buy it from us if they just come in and take it from us? Kind of like they did our jobs. And all of that's coming back to America now. We're a self-sustaining country, and I think Americans have forgot that. That we don't need any other country in the world. We can grow our own food, we can grow our own cattle, we can produce our own energy. We have enough gold in reserves to maintain a gold standard-based system for every American. And so we don't need them. We don't need to belly up to the table with anybody. We are self-sufficient. And they know this. And so that's what their whole goal is, to just destroy that. And hell with the American people. You know, and they're doing it from Washington. These politicians have been doing this for decades. You know, I was 5 months old when President Kennedy got killed. I was born in the Matrix. Okay? But the whole point that I'm trying to make in this little podcast is that we're watching you. Okay? And I'm talking to the corrupt people out there. We know what you've done. We know how you did it. And now we're going to prove it. We want America back. You can't have it. It does not belong to you. It belongs to us. And to Twitter and Facebook and all you other tech giants, you do not own the internet. The internet belongs to us. You know, and you cannot stop it. You cannot shut it down. I don't care how loud you scream and lie and throw your little tantrums. In the end, we win. But anyways, I bored you long enough. If you listen, thank you. I'm Moses63 on Parler. And soon I'll be making these little short videos. This one is actually about 23 minutes long. It's a little bit long, but I just couldn't sleep. There's just too many of those pieces of the puzzle falling into place with me. And y'all buckle up. What you're about to see is going to blow you away. Y'all have a wonderful day.